me started, as am I. So I thought we'd start by introducing myself. My name is Eden Tabeba. I'm a reporter, anchor, and weather specialist with CP24, but I'm also, thank you. But honestly, in my spare time, my family knows I'm an avid reader, I love to swim, and I also love volunteering. I think giving back is very important, which is why I'm so honored to be asked by P2P to host today's evening. Now, as I mentioned, tonight we're celebrating P2P's 23rd anniversary. I was only 4 years old when it was actually started back in 1999, but it didn't take long for me to actually learn more about P2P. I was lucky enough to be brought to one of their events by my parents when I was very young, and I love to hear that after all this time, they continue all the hard work and dedication to making a meaningful difference in community health here in the GTA, and of course, transforming the lives of orphan children in Ethiopia as well. Now, there will be a lot of moments for clapping because there are a lot of people to thank here tonight, but I'd love to start off by doing it to P2P volunteers, sponsors, supporters, and all distinguished guests that are here tonight. We'd like to say thank you for your big heart, your commitment, and of course, your continued dedication to the organization.
ኦርጋናይዜሽን ካናዳ ከእኛ ድርጅት ከህይወት ኢንቴግሬትድ ዴቨሎፕመንት ኦርጋናይዜሽን ጋር መስራት የጀመረ ከ17 ዓመት በላይ ሆኖታል እና በፒቱፒ ድጋፍ የበርካታ በሺዎች የሚቆጠሩ ወላጆቻቸውን በሞት ያጡና ለችግር የተጋለጡ ህጻናትን ህይወት መቀየር ተችሏል።
Partnership with Diane's mastectomy is in line with P2P wider community health support objectives in Ethiopia. Future shipments of the prostheses are also in the works and will reach larger numbers of breast cancer survivors in Ethiopia. P2P Youth Initiative to break the silence around mental health. There are two things we are doing towards this, which we recently briefed with other community leaders during our board retreat in December. The first is to engage directly with the youth through a mentorship program mostly focused on youth in transition. When we say transition, it means youth transitioning to college, to the workplace, or new arrivals to Canada. In addition to the mentorship program, we have also been developing an asset map for our community that will increase our awareness around access to resources for mental health and overall life 2022. It was a very successful event that attracted a large number of community youth, previous and new supporters.
Who has capably led the organization over the past 7 years. Please join me in welcoming him to the stage now.
How are you all doing? Hello. Good evening, everyone. And I would like to welcome you all after so many years, I would say. I'm very happy, honored, and blessed to stand here tonight in front of this beautiful and caring crowd. I don't want to steal the thunder from the current president who will be addressing you shortly. But I want to take a brief moment to thank you all for your unfailing support and encouragement over the past many years. We won't be here today without your support. I'd also like to highlight the fact that ever since the founding of P2P, we have consistently made sure that our organizational culture reflects diversity and equity in our governance model and leadership structure. We have consciously and consistently ensured that women and young adults are well represented in the organizational leadership. The composition of our board and leadership roles has always reflected this reality. It's in keeping with our tradition of maintaining leadership, diversity, skill, and merit that after our annual general meeting AGM last year, the P2P Board of Directors unanimously elected Ms. Ratnasamy as our next president and board chair. Ms. Rat has capably served as P2P's vice president over the past 7 years with me, and she's an outstanding leader and who brings proven leadership skills, energy, and passion to her role. We have no doubt that P2P will reach new heights under her leadership. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome P2P's current president and board chair, Ms. Ratnasamy.
Thank you very much for that warm welcome, Tefiye. I call him Tefiye, but it's Tefiye for you guys. And especially for your dedication and your sound leadership over the past many years. To me, you're a huge mentor, so I thank you. And I don't take this baton very lightly. Well, this is it, ladies and gentlemen. Distinguished guests, it is an honor to stand before you today to share and celebrate with all of you the remarkable accomplishment of People to People Canada Aid Organization, also known as P2P. As we celebrate our 23rd anniversary, let me say that again, our 23rd anniversary. I am humbled by the hard work and the dedication of our sponsors, supporters, and volunteers who have made all this possible. This year's theme, A Better Tomorrow for All, truly embodies the spirit and the purpose of our organization. Let me start by thanking our sponsors, supporters, and volunteers whose generosity and unfailing support has been the backbone of our organization, especially with the Orphan Sponsorship Program for 23 years. Through this highly successful program, we have been able to transform the lives of hundreds of orphans and vulnerable children in Ethiopia. I'm proud to say that many of these children, as you saw in the video, have become self-sustaining adults and are now giving back to our society. While we celebrate that achievement and continue to nurture the 251 kids that we have under our care right now, we're very mindful that there are still far too many children who do not receive any support and face a dire future. As many of you know, we have a proven model that allows us to direct all sponsorship funds received from our supporters to the children in need. We cover our administrative costs and other auxiliary support through separate fundraising efforts, such as the annual Toronto Waterfront Marathon and newly revamped the P2P Summer Fair, and also through individual and other donations that supplement our limited budget and program expenditures. I also want to extend a thanks to our partners, especially the organization on the ground in Ethiopia, Hewitt Integrated Development Organization called HIDO, and Hanna Orphan Homes and their outstanding leaders, Laureate Sister Tebebe Marco and Wizaro Hanna Tashome, and their dedication and their leadership. Laureate Sister Tebebe has been a remarkable example of one person making a significant change in the lives of others for the better. She is here with us, sitting right there. It is a privilege to have her here as our keynote speaker for tonight, and I'm confident that she will leave you all inspired. In addition to our orphan sponsorship program, P2P has expanded the scope to including youth mental health awareness and education initiative through the Sound the Horn program. Sound the Horn is a community mental health engagement program led by the P2P Youth Initiative to break the silence around mental health in the community, focusing on our children, the young. There are two things that we're doing with this program. The first is to engage directly to the youth with mentorship program mostly focused on the youth transition. When I say youth transitioning, it's youth transitioning from high school to college or university or in the workplace, also new arrivals in Canada. Secondly, with this program, in addition to the mentorship program, we're also developing an asset map for our community that will increase awareness around access to resources for mental health for our youth. Our goal is to break down the stigma around mental health and promote positive community. With over 2 decades of experiences in executing community-based health awareness initiatives, P2P is well equipped to continue making a positive impact on the mental health of our community. Now, despite the challenges posed by the pandemic, as you all know, many nonprofit organizations could not sustain it. We've achieved a great deal in the last 3 years. For instance, we've digitalized our orphan sponsorship program administration, which has improved our data accessibility, efficiency, reporting, and communication flow. We launched our summer fair in July with a huge success, especially with our youth. Our flagship fundraising Toronto Waterfront Marathon that most of you have been donating to and helping us with has remained active virtually even during the pandemic, and we've raised over $180,000 for our program costs. Let me explain why these fundraisings and donations are really, really important for us. For example, P2P often has to fill the gaps in orphan sponsorship payments. This can happen when a sponsor drops out due to life circumstances, leaving a shortage in the sponsorship payment for the children in the program. In that case, we don't stop supporting that child we're committed to. P2P steps in and we support the children until new sponsors can be found for them. That is why your donations and your contributions matter to us. Additionally, in response to the unprecedented COVID-19, I'm so done saying unprecedented, to be honest, but we have taken steps to protect the children in our orphan sponsorship program and their guardians as well, and transferred $40,000 from our special donation fund to our program partners in Ethiopia to support COVID prevention and protection with our children. We also recently upgraded our office and transformed it into a modern and welcoming space for our youth and community partners. We've also updated our logo, if you've noticed, our website, and we're very present in the social media, so follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. And Aiden will tell you guys, if you're active on social media, please hashtag P2P Gala 2023 for this evening. Thanks to our volunteer this month and the donor organization Diane's Mastectomy, P2P Canada facilitated a donation and shipped 100 kilograms of breast prosthetics and mastectomy bras worth $2 million to breast cancer survivors in Ethiopia through the Pink Lotus Ethiopia Breast Cancer Support Program. Like I said, despite the funding challenges and the impact of the pandemic, P2P remains dedicated to expanding its activities and making a difference in our community. So tonight, I have an ask for you. Please consider choosing P2P as your choice, as your charity through your workplace giving program. With over 23 years of serving in our community, particularly in the Black community, P2P has made a significant impact. You are here because you believe in the importance of this mission and this organization, so please spread the word to your colleagues, workplace, family, sponsors, and funders that you know, because P2P is a worthy recipient of their support. Like the famous African proverb says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Over 2 decades of impact has because we are making a difference together. So clap your hand for that. Together is the word. It's the most important word. So I want to recognize that our accomplishments were made possible thanks to our active support and participation of our youth, faith-based organizations, community media businesses, workplace colleagues, family members, and friends. It will be a challenge to name the 100 of supporters and volunteers that have been an integral part of our success over the 23 years. But allow me to name a few individuals and organizations as an example of what sustained us as a volunteer-based organization, mostly through the volunteers. First, I want to thank Lynn and Pat for organizing 5 People for Kids Gala to benefit our children. There's also people like Alan who generously supported 28 children through our sponsorship program. New to the P2P family, Lucy, president of Candy Eyes Jewelry. She's here, and she has donated a beautiful earring. Valentine's Day is around the corner, everyone. Our platinum sponsor, the Spirit of Africa, Ethiopian Airlines, and the area manager, Mesvin Ashepe. Thank you. Steve Glover from Compugen Finance for supporting us and sponsoring this event year after year. I would also like to thank our event planning and fundraising committee for their outstanding work in organizing this gala. Now, our public relations team for their hard work in planning and pulling together many aspects of this event. Also, our youth committee, led by Maya back there, for their contribution to leadership. And Maya, Samira, Helena, and all of you, I think there's like 20 youth and younger youth as well in that corner who have been supporting us. And I just want to tell you, 18 or 20 years ago, I was one of you. I was one of you, and I've learned how to be a mentor, a leader. I honed my skills through P2P, and this is where you learn leadership. So come and volunteer and be part of P2P. And parents, please make sure your kids come and learn through P2P and volunteer for P2P. There's a lot of life skills that they learn. Okay? I want to thank Ritik Elem, our amazing person who year after year who decorates this hall and makes it magnificent. Our unrelenting and exemplary supporters, our very own Samra and Wale. And last but not least, our program manager, Malaku Tamara. Trust me, he deals with 15 board members. He's very patient, hardworking, and dedicated. So thank you, Malaku. Finally, allow me to extend my sincere gratitude to all our supporters, sponsors, volunteers, and all of you who managed to attend this magnificent event despite your demanding schedule. Your contribution, both big and small, is helping us to contribute to a better tomorrow for all. Thank you again, and enjoy the evening.
Thank you so much, Mesa, for that inspiring address. I know everyone here is really feeling that positive energy in the room. I would first love to start off by mentioning a little more about what she mentioned, our primary partner for delivering the extremely successful orphan sponsorship program on the ground in Ethiopia that has positively transformed so many lives. It's Hewitt Integrated Development Organization, or as you may know it, HEDO, led by its outstanding director, Sister Tebebe Marco. Now, Sister Tebebe has dedicated her entire life to helping orphans and vulnerable children. Under her leadership, HEDO has provided critically needed care and nurturing to thousands of orphans and vulnerable children, as well as other marginalized and disadvantaged members of society. She's also won multiple national awards and international awards at that for her accomplishments in leadership, and most recently she was recipient of a Lifetime Achievement Award from the Association of Women in Business. She's traveled all the way from Ethiopia to be here with us tonight, and we are very privileged to have her deliver the keynote address to us. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my great pleasure to let you join me in welcoming Sister Tebebe.
Thank you for having me. My name is Dr. Unauthorized. I am the founder and executive director of the Integrated Development Organization. It is an honor and a great privilege for me to be a keynote speaker and the honorary guest at this annual fundraising gala people-to-people organization. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to begin by extending my deepest gratitude to P2P for its continued support for Ethiopians in need over 2 decades. Your generous support has positively changed the lives of thousands of orphans and vulnerable children, their caregivers, and destitute women. I am truly grateful to your support, which comforted people in need, made them resilient, gave them hope while they were in despair, and enabled to live a better life. Your Integrated Development Organization, HEDO, formerly known as HIV/AIDS Prevention, Care and Support Organization, was founded in 1999, the same year P2P was established. Both P2P and the HEDO serve the same causes with a shared vision. During those times of highest HIV/AIDS mortality and morbidity, mainly in 1990s, a number of people living with HIV had been suffering from multifarious problems and agonies ranging from lack of minimal HIV/AIDS care and support services in a higher level of stigma and discrimination, which in turn degraded their dignity and humanity. This reality was taken as the cause and the entry point for the inception of both P2P and the HEDO. HEDO partnership with P2P Canada began 17 years ago with unreserved and continued support from P2P. Because of the support from P2P, the children are now healthy, safe, stable in the school. Some of them even have been graduated from higher academic institutions and employed as professionals. P2P support was not limited to sponsorship. HEDO started its early childhood development program with the support of P2P. Through the ECD program, HEDO is able to provide all-inclusive and developmentally appropriate early childhood development care and services to hundreds of preschool orphans, mainly their AIDS orphans. Moreover, with the financial support of P2P, HIDO successfully implemented the project Crisis Local Heroes, through which grandmothers taking care of ex-orphans were supported to be involved in income-generating activities and become economically self-reliant. Because besides as part of social support and fulfilling the invisible needs of the target children, P2P support Christmas celebration event every year, during which all the target children and their caregivers entertain themselves, play and socialize with others. P2P also provides relief and emergency response when necessary. At the time of COVID-19 pandemic, our organization HIDO reaches all too many organizations, but P2P was the first and foremost organization to take timely action in reaching out to people in need. With the financial support of P2P, hundreds of orphans and vulnerable children and their households were provided with food and sanitary material support, which enabled them to cope up with those difficult times of COVID-19 pandemic. The commitment and the dedication from P2P staff and board members is so unique and exceptional. The board members and the staff of P2P closely follow up the status of each and every child and have a strong attachment with the children. They are deeply concerned about the work, and everyone they come to Ethiopia, they visit the children and they discuss with the responsible staff of HIDO about our joint intervention. The same holds true for each and every individual sponsor. The sponsors closely follow up the status of their responsible children and they visit them whenever they come to Ethiopia. In addition to providing material and financial support, the sponsors also have a strong attachment with the sponsored children, encourage and morally support, and they play a parental role. On behalf of the target children, I would like to extend my deepest gratitude, heartfelt appreciation, and indebtedness for the support P2P has been rendering to make a difference in the lives of vulnerable children in Ethiopia. Had it not been for your support, these children might have been in a poor physical, cognitive, emotional, and psychosocial status, might have been on the streets, being a menace to the society, or might have been died. Your support has enabled them to be in a much better position now, live a better and dignified life, and aspire for a brighter future. It is an honor and a great privilege for my organization to collaborate and work with such reliable, responsible, and trustworthy partners. Finally, I would like to bring you to your attention that the number of orphans and vulnerable children, or the number of children in need, has significantly increased in Ethiopia. Nearly 12.5 million, 75% of all Ethiopian children are in dire need of humanitarian assistance due to several factors, including the war and the conflicts in our country and the other natural and man-made malicious problems. These children need instant support badly. Therefore, I respectfully request P2P to scale up its support and reach out to these children as well. And to all that can help, do everything that you can to benefit this organization. Thank you so much. For those of you who can speak and hear Amharic, I want to say a few words in Amharic. እናንተ የአባቴ ብሩካን ዓለም ሳይፈጠር የተዘጋጀላቸው መንግሥተ ሰማያትን ውረሱ። ብራብ አብልታችሁኛል፣ ብጠማ አጠጥታችሁኛል፣ ብታሰር አስፈትታችሁኛል፣ ብታመም ጠይቃችሁኛል፣ ብታረዝ አልብሳችሁኛል ይላችኋል። እናንተም የተርበህ አይተንህ አበላንህ፣ ተጠምተህ አጠጣንህ፣ ታርዘህ አለበስንህ ትሉታላችሁ። ለእነዚህ ለታናናሾቹ ለምስኪኖቹ ያደረጋችሁት ለእኔ ያደረጋችሁልኝ ማለት ነው። እግዚአብሔር ባወጣችሁት እጥፍ አድርጎ ይሰጣችኋል። በጤና ይባረካችኋል፣ በስራችሁ ይባረካችኋል፣ ልጆቻችሁ ይባረካሉ፣ ስራዎቻችሁ ይባረካሉ፣ ትዳራችሁ ይባረካል። በሰማይ ደግሞ የማያልፈውን ሕይወት ይሰጣችኋል። ስለዚህ ኢትዮጵያ ውስጥ ዛሬ ህፃናት ዛሬ የሚሆኑት ናቸው። የመጀመሪያ ተጠቂ የሚሆኑት ህፃናትና ሴቶች ናቸው። እንድረስላቸው እላለሁ። አመሰግናለሁ። For our strong partnership, PIDO has prepared a certificate of appreciation to P2P. I call upon the president of P2P, Mr. Hassan.
Integrated Development Organization, Certificate of Application to People-to-People Aid Organization. We would like to extend our undoubted deepest gratitude and heartfelt appreciation to your esteemed organization for positively changing the lives of thousands of orphans and vulnerable children and their care in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, through your unreserved and continued financial support for more than 16 years from 2006 to date. Laureate Mr. Tabana Mako. She is our real life hero.
And I think it's all covered really well earlier, just how long your dedication and leadership means to all the children's lives that you touch, and of course, all the people who participate here at P2P. So on behalf of all the P2P members, supporters, orphan sponsors, and especially the orphan children for delivering this outstanding program despite the daunting challenges we've been facing in the last few years. Continue to push forward, and that is the most inspiring. For the past 15 years. Today, Taibu has strong community roots and has become a recognizable agency that's committed to addressing the impact of anti-Black racism on the health and well-being of the Black community. In 2022, he was recognized for the work that he's done and accomplished in the community, particularly when it comes to COVID-19 pandemic, and the street Lubinway was named after him in the Malvern neighborhood of Scarborough. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in giving a very warm welcome to Mr. Lubin Gabrameskel to the podium.
The speaker has always a problem when they are before food, or if they have to follow some very difficult acts. We have 3 acts: the speech of the president, the keynote speaker, and some great music. So I don't know how I'm going to fare after these 3 great acts, but I'm very honored and humbled to be among you. Thank you for P2P for inviting me to share a few words. It's also recognition that we are in February, so it's Black History Month. So we're talking about Black excellence, all the videos that we've seen, all the work that is happening back home, and I think the plan that is being formed now with P2P is about Black excellence. The theme of the gala is a better tomorrow for all. And as I was thinking about this, and Madam President has been saying quite a number of times that we're still in some very difficult times, we're just coming out of that difficult time, but we've just been in some very, very difficult times, particularly for communities such as the Ethiopian and Eritrean communities. Mental health, chronic disease, the opioid crisis, things that we were not talking or thinking about in our communities are happening now. Criminal justice, all the kind of negative impact that has come on our communities. And so it might feel a bit overwhelming to say, how are we going to create a better tomorrow for all? Because nothing looks hopeful and nothing seems positive. But that's what non-profit organizations do, right? If we study the history of non-profit organizations, they were created to fill a gap that either the government or corporations could not fill. And so we have organizations like P2P that can fill this gap. So I think that is a very positive and hopeful moment for us. And that's also where I work, and these are the things that we address. So we're very, very happy to be partnering with P2P. So as I was thinking about this, I said maybe there are 3 themes that I would like to share, both for the board of P2P and the leadership there, but also for us, because we are also P2P, we are members of the organization. And these are some principles that we use in our organization when we are dealing with issues in the community. The first one is the principle of Sankofa. The principle of Sankofa means that we go back to the past and bring what is strong, helpful wisdom that will help us to move into the future. And I think 20 years ago, P2P was in a similar situation, looking at what was happening in the community and saying, back home, and now here, we have to do something. So I think P2P has a very strong history, 23 years, so much money raised, so many young people's lives changed, and in difficult times as well. So I think we are good there. I think if we use the principle of Sankofa, I think P2P is a strong organization to help us move into the future. The second theme that I was thinking, and these are African values and principles, because we were talking about Proverbs earlier on. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. The second principle that I've been thinking about is the principle from the Kwanzaa principle, which is Kumba. Kumba means it's creativity, it's defined as creativity. And the principle is about leaving something better than we have received for the next generation. And I think this is what P2P is doing, is leaving a better tomorrow for the younger generation. And I think that's another theme that I would like us to remember and to keep. And the third one is a South African principle. It's called Ubuntu. Ubuntu means I am because we are. There's no individuality in the African tradition. There's no me. There's only we, right? And if I'm not okay, you cannot be okay. If you're not okay, then I cannot be okay. So that's the principle of Ubuntu. I am because we all are, or I am who I am because we all are. And I think these 3 principles coming together, I think, would be something that would lead us into the better tomorrow for all. The Sankofa is our foundation. The Kumba is our purpose or our vision of leaving something better for the next generation. And I think that Ubuntu is the strategy of how we are going to do it. I heard the President stress or emphasize the word together. And I think coming here today is a good opportunity to strengthen that coming together, the spirit of Ubuntu. That we cannot be well if one part of ourselves is not well. And so I would like to encourage all of us to use these principles in order to move forward to support P2B moving into the next phase, particularly as they are developing this crisis that we are, we may not have noticed it, but there is a crisis looming about to explode mental health and young people in our communities, including Ethiopian, Eritrean, and Black communities. We are bracing, at least at Taiwan, we are bracing for such things. So I think that the vision is very timely for P2P. We are here to support them, both as individuals but also as organizations. And the other thing that also I would like to share here, and we've been talking about this, and my elder brother Emmanuel always talks about this, is about creating, I think if we want to create a better tomorrow for all, we also have to create an ecosystem that would help us to come together, to connect the dots. There are talents, there are organizations, there are people. We all have to come together in order to build a better tomorrow for all. It is possible. P2P has done it for 23 years. Taiwo is a little younger than P2P. We've been doing it for 15 years. And I think we can continue to do this. And I really want to encourage all of us to continue to support P2P in order to bring this better tomorrow for all, for us and for the next generation. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that educational and inspiring address. Now, we all know that community health and empowerment can never succeed without active investigation, involvement, and of course, cascading generations all working together with young people and old to get everyone on board and on the same page. Now, while there are many community leaders who tirelessly work to empower our youth, there is, of course, one woman who shines supremely in that space. And that woman is Agabi Gesese, who is an award-winning, powerful, influential, and fearless change maker. In 2020, she was named amongst the top Black women to watch in Canada. She's also the executive director of the CEE Center for Young Black Professionals and the founder of the Consulting and Strategy Group as well. Now, for over a decade, Agapi has worked to engage the lives of marginalized youth with her work with the Toronto Community Housing, United Way for Greater Toronto, and as the executive director of POV, an organization focused on breaking barriers for young people in the media and film industry. Now, Agapi has also captivated audiences on local and international stages, has been featured and invited onto many streets and commentatings on media outlets such as CTV National News, BNN, Bay Street Bull, Breakfast Television, and so much more. She speaks and writes on topics such as anti-Black racism, government relations, JEDI, workforce development, and youth engagement. Her roles and mandates focus on social impact, and her career levels a trail of talented, brilliant minds to show for leadership wherever she goes. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me in welcoming the incomparable Agapi to the stage.
Hi everyone, good evening. I want to just thank P2P for the amazing work that they're doing and also for inviting me to speak here. My bio makes me sound really great, so I hope I live up to it. I am a daughter of refugee parents who came to this country in '88, which was the year I was born. And I was raised by my single mother. Over time that happened. And one of the things that she did when we were younger is she loved extracurricular activities. There's not a thing I don't know how to do, I promise you, okay? I played tennis, I swam, I played the piano, and I also did ballet and gymnastics, and like the list goes on and on. But there was never an extracurricular that I did not do. And I understood that very young. I have an older brother and sister. My sister's in the audience, so if there's one thing I can't do, there's definitely nothing she can't do. Because my older brother and sister were very natural at everything, at sports, at school. I don't know if any of the young people in the room went to Kumon, but I also went to Kumon. And so all of those things, I wasn't good. You know, like, you know when your siblings are better than you at everything and it's so obvious because you're just like not that great? And so my mother would be very hard on me because I really feel like her aspirations and thoughts for me were she had very high expectations. So she would come with me to my group piano classes, okay? And she'd bring this like big tape recorder. You know, like back in the day where you put a tape in and press record? Yeah, she brought that, okay? And she would press record, and for the whole hour class, after class, I would have a debrief class where I'd have to listen to it for an hour, and she'd be like, remember, did you hear that? Did you hear you were off key? She did not know how to play the piano, by the way. And so there was just like this amount of pressure all the time, because my sister, on the other hand, would just like play by her ear. Like, I didn't even know how to read notes, if I'm being real. But she would just like play like it was Mozart, and my mother would watch these like, you know, these young children on videos and be like, look, they play so well, and they're playing in China and all of these places. I really felt like my mother was just like, I want you guys to be a protege. However it happens, it doesn't matter. And I really started to understand as I was reflecting, and I was talking with my sister, we used to go to ballet, and my sister would go first, and then I would go second, and I would go into the class, and I just it wasn't even that I wasn't good, I just didn't try, because I didn't like it. Like, all of the kids would like run around back to back with their tutus, and my mom would send my sister in, because I used to suck my thumb as a child, like whatever, and I used to literally take my shoes off, throw it in the middle of the ballet studio, and suck my thumb, because that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to live my life the way I wanted to live it. And my sister would have to come in and be like, can you please try? And I'd be like, no, I'm good. I think I'm just gonna sit right here. I say all of that to say that at the time, it didn't feel good. And I grew up a lot of the time thinking, wow, my brother and my sister are so good at all of these things, and I'm not good at any of these things. And at school, I had to try harder. And the reality of the situation was, my mother had high hopes for me. She wanted me to be great. She left Ethiopia for the political reasons and came to this country because she wanted a better life. And for most part, I think she really thought, well, I think I'm going to sacrifice the time that I've had, and I'm going to instill it in my girls and my older brother and my children, and I'm going to make sure that they can be all that they can be. Reflecting now, I don't know how she did it as a single mother and the amount of things that we did, but there was something inside of her that just had so much hope for what we would be, you know? And I think as I reflect on that, I also think about the fact that we all can't be children proteges, right? I didn't end up being one, by the way. But what I did do is start to think about what I wanted to do and where I wanted to see myself. And I think that as we reflect on the state of our people in this country, and we are Black, I don't know if any of you Habesham people got that memo, but we're Black. And the reality is, you know, I remember growing up, I would be like, oh, but we're Habesha. And like, nobody's going down the street being like, oh, look at that Habesha girl crossing the street. No, they're like, look at that Black person. God forbid, even my older brother who, you know, experienced a lot. So we have to, number one, acknowledge that and understand that statistics are telling us that the longer we're staying in this country, the worse off we're becoming. You need to really think about that. We're coming, our parents, yourselves, whomever, are coming here for a better life. But the longer that we're staying, we're doing worse off than we were maybe even back home. And so the reality is we need to start to think about, what does that mean? And how are we going to be able to change the tide? And I will say, for young folks, I really think that you need to look around the room and you need to be able to find out what your passion is. Your passion, your purpose, and be able to figure out your own way. Not where your parents only want you to be, right? Because Habesha folks, we know. We get it. Not all of us can go to med school. You know what I mean? So I think that as young people, you also have to understand that there are going to be opportunities that maybe the folks around you don't necessarily see. But find out what you're good at. Find out what your purpose is. Purpose, passion, those things can collide. We're living in an economy where you can do whatever you would like. Literally, you can do whatever you would like. If you want to sit down, you can make money doing that. If you want to stand up, you can do that. If you want to play sports, whatever it is, you need to be able to find what that is. And to the parents in the room, allow your children to explore where they see fit. The reality of the situation. Allow your children to explore what they would like to do, because you're going to put all of your energy and all of well-intentioned, but you also don't know what you don't know. And there might be things that your children are able to shed light on, and they know themselves best. Trust me, I knew myself best. I was not going to become a ballerina. So allow your children the space and the time and the ability to be able to discover themselves and explore things and cultivate that. And for the young people in the room, you are needed. You're not just needed here in this country to make your situation better for your generation and the generations that are going to come behind you. But as someone from the diaspora, back home needs you just as much. And your ability to figure out yourself in this world and cultivate that, and also understand that your small contribution actually will triple and be a trickle effect out, not just in this country, but also back home. And so it really is dependent. Our ability to thrive in this country and elsewhere is dependent on your ability to find out where you see yourself and where you fit, which means your parents have to help you out with that. I don't think that my mother unfortunately has passed away, but I don't think that she would have imagined that I would have done this with my life. And I think part of that has also been exposure. I always say to Emmanuel, who's in the room, I walked into a room at United Way and didn't know what I was going to do, and I thought he looked very well to do. If you see him today, everyone, you can see he's very well to do. He looks great, well fed. And so I thought to myself, oh, and because he was a Habesha man, I thought, oh wow, maybe this is something that I can do. So for the young people in the room, connect, see, we're in a new age. Go on LinkedIn, look up whatever it is that you want to become. Go and look that up and ask somebody to have a coffee, a conversation. You need to be able to explore, because it wasn't until I saw somebody who looked like me that was doing something that I never thought would be a possibility of a career for me to say, oh, well, maybe I can too. And that also means that parents, don't discourage your children from exploring those opportunities. Don't say, I can't tell you how many times my mother, like I said, had the best of intentions, but I can't tell you how many times I was like, well, I want to help people. And she's like, you're not going to make any money doing that. Don't do that. And let's do that afterward, right? And so you unintentionally can stifle your children's ability to be as great as they can possibly be. And so I'll say this, neither of us could have imagined it, but impact always starts with purpose, and your ability to find your purpose is going to impact the ability for a better tomorrow for everyone. It's not only about you, it's about everyone, which is exactly the theme of this evening. So I thank you all for listening, and I hope that you could take the small bit of knowledge I've tried to share with all of you, and I hope I lived up to my bio. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that inspiring message, an important one for parents and children alike to help start and help with our communities.
That he won for this award. We extend our heartfelt congratulations to Adel for his well-deserved recognition, and we are deeply grateful for choosing P2P. I just want to remind you all why we serve P2P, why we come here. It's a reflection. If the weekend is actually donating to the P2P, it's because we're making a big difference. So clap your hand to yourself. If I ever meet Edwin, because I knew him when he was little, I want to say this. Edwin, as much as you shine on the global stage with your music, you shine even brighter for your big heart and dedication to making a difference in the lives of the less fortunate. Our sincere gratitude also goes out to the Alan Slate Foundation for the generosity and their support. Thank you. Enjoy the weekend.
Yeah.